Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we've got a really interesting one for you. The company's name is Autonomix Medical. We've invited the CEO here to talk about their recent IPO and give us the details on this medical device organization. Now before we get into it, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a big help to myself and the channel. It's also 100% free to do and it would really help me out. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join. And let me know in the comment section below if you've heard of this company before. Trades under the ticker AMIX. If you're currently holding shares and your outlook for 2024. Now with that being said, let's get into today's interview. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, a really unique and interesting one. This company just IPO'd. I always like to talk about these organizations because they're hot off the press. We've got the CEO here, Lori Bisson, to give us the details on her organization, Autonomix Medical Incorporated. So Lori, first off, congrats on the IPO. Thanks so much for being here and we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bryce. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me just give you a little background on me. I am the CEO for Autonomix Medical, but I have spent the bulk of my career in the life science space and have had the privilege of doing a significant portion of that career with the same team of people that I trust and love. And so previous to Autonomix, some of us, a big part of our crew, was at a company called Soliton. We just took that company public in 2019 and ended up able to sell that company to AbbVie for about $575 million pre-commercialization. So that was a really successful exit for those investors. Before that, I was with an over-the-counter acne treatment device that was cleared by the FDA as well. And prior to that, it was a small early stage oncology drug development company. So each of these companies has a life science application, but also a similar stage of development to Autonomix. So I have a lot of comfort level moving a technology from concept to exit or to commercial launch. And we hope we're going to repeat that successfully here at Autonomix.
Gotcha. So it's not your first rodeo, I guess, Lori, eh?
Not even close.
Okay, good. And 575 million never hurt anyone either. So that's a nice little track record.
That's right.
Hey, so obviously you've got a long history and experience with this kind of development and bringing companies to the public market. I'm curious, because this one just went public, can you give us some details about the current organization and kind of what you're focused on or really looking to solution for here?
Yeah, so Autonomix Medical is working on technology for the nervous system. The nervous system is responsible, or at least involved, in almost every function of the human body. But today, we have no way to view it. You can't see nerves in x-rays, you can't see nerves in CAT scans, you can't even see nerves with sophisticated sensing equipment that's available today. Today's sensing equipment is just not sensitive enough to read the very fine 1 to 2 microvolt signals that nerves send. And this leaves physicians without the tools to sense or to see the nervous system. So our technology is a catheter-based sensing technology. It has an array of antennae that pick up signals and a proprietary microchip that's adjacent to those antennae that processes those signals. And the magic to our technology is that the catheter-based technology and the size of the technology enables us to travel through the cardiovascular system, the nerves and the veins and arteries of the human body, and get right up next to the nerves that send those signals. So our technology is about 3,000 times more sensitive than what's available on the market today. And for the first time, we're going to have the capability to detect nerve activity. And physicians, for the first time, will have the ability to have visibility into the nervous system to allow for the diagnosis and treatment of a range of diseases and disorders driven by the nervous system.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I've not any serious disorders, but I've struggled with some back pain and nerve damage and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty hard to isolate what's wrong, let alone try and fix it or find a solution. So it's great to see we're making some strides in that area of the medical world as well. Now, I know IPO was obviously a huge event for this company. We've got some additional catalysts we're going to talk about in a second here, but now that we know who you are and what Autonomix does, can you talk to us a little bit about the IPO and what coming to the public markets does for your company?
Yeah, sure. So the IPO closed on Friday. We sold 2.2 million shares of common stock at $5 a share for gross proceeds of about $11.1 million. And that resulted in market cap of about 93.5 million immediately after closing the IPO. We actually opened trading on NASDAQ yesterday under the ticker AMIX. So it was an exciting day. It's really fun to have that initial public position. So the offering was a Reg A offering, which is a little bit unique. It's a little bit of a unique mechanism, but it's what we did at Soliton too. Our investor base is about half directly from the crowd and half from the syndicate, but it's a broad group of investors that are highly retail based, and so it's really a comfortable place for us to be because those investors came in because they believe in our mission and they're big supporters of the company and they're going to stick with us, which is a great place to be for a small cap company.
Yeah, it most definitely is. And this channel caters a lot to the retail audience. You're right. It is a very loyal fan base or investor base. And it's nice to get that support right out of the gates, especially with these medical biotech type of companies. I always like to relate it back to the patient, right? Because we talk about numbers and revenue projections and whatever, but at the end of the day, you're impacting people's quality of life and their relationships and their ability to have those relationships. And I think that's why people get so attached to some of these companies, right? If you have someone that's suffering from one of these conditions. Yeah, cool. Well, great, and appreciate that, and thanks for giving us some detail and context there. Now, the exciting part of the video, Lori, we've got a couple additional catalysts on the horizon for your organization, and I wanted to walk through this a little bit. So you talked a little bit about ownership makeup, market cap, market size, but let's get into some of these additional things maybe people should watch out for, starting with the size of this market.
Yeah, so the market is kind of shockingly large. We're targeting pancreatic cancer pain first, but we have broader applications for this technology. And one of the larger categories is pain management in general. And so pain management in general is a $77 billion a year marketplace. We also think we're going to have application in a hypertension treatment market by going after the renal artery, and that's a $22 billion market application. We just announced this morning that we have completed a transaction to secure the worldwide cardiology market rights to our technology. That market is huge. So all in all, we're well over $100 billion market opportunity that we believe this technology can be advanced into and can impact.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to the next question here, talking about kind of the exit strategy, because when you start talking about numbers of that size, Lori, obviously there's bigger players here that are very interested in capturing this market share. So you've talked about, or we see licensing agreements, we see spin-outs or purchases, M&A. Have you thought, or is there any discussion about a potential exit strategy for this company?
Yeah, it's one of the really exciting things about the electrophysiology space today. There are big players, and not to be crass, but with big checkbooks, right, that are invested heavily in the technology in the electrophysiology space. And we're on kind of the cutting edge of that space. A lot of it is focused on cardiology because of the lack of sensitivity in other areas of the body. But what you're seeing happen today with players like Medtronic is they're starting to move into the nervous system in the use of ablation therapy and ablation technology. So you might have seen recently their renal denervation technology was approved at the FDA. And then we've got other players kind of making moves outside the heart as well. We think anybody that's out there that is using an ablation therapy to treat any condition in the body is going to see the advantage of better visibility to that procedure, right? And so we think there's going to be a lot of natural interest in our technology by the players in the space. And what we've seen in the space in recent M&A activity is a real trend towards early takeouts of companies with novel therapies, because companies are investing heavily and there's such a big market around this opportunity. So we really think there's an exit window for us that's even pre-regulatory clearance, kind of in that clinical stage. And so we're going to do what we did at Soliton and communicate effectively with the parties that we think have a reason to be interested in our technology, keep them apprised about what we're doing, make sure they know what our milestones are, and listen to them about what's important for us to demonstrate, right? So that we are making sure our clinical outcomes are demonstrating what they want to see, so they'll believe that our technology is worth acquiring.
Yeah, and that's where that experience and track record that you've done in the past really comes into play, right? Especially trying to navigate that roadmap.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
the other question, you brought it up in your answer there, but novel therapies or novel treatments, the first thing that comes to mind for me is intellectual property, IP, patents, all that. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown there?
Yeah, we have just a really deep and broad IP portfolio. We have 15 patent families with over 100 patents either issued or pending today. And that patent portfolio is in the US, but it's being nationalized to all the important, significant markets. And so, it's a really nice platform to be working from, and it protects the investment that we're making into this technology.
Yeah, especially in terms of barriers to entry, and you talk about moats. Definitely in a field like this that's just right on the cutting edge, you want to make sure you're protected. Now, the only other question I kind of wanted to get into here, especially with companies of this size, around the 100 million market cap, is insider ownership, because a lot of times people look at these and say, hey, you know what, you're pre-revenue. We want to see some skin in the game from management and leadership and all the rest. So can you give us a little bit I know you said it's predominantly retail based, there's a big retail following, but in terms of insiders, how does that look?
Well, we have a significant chunk of ownership in the company. It's almost 50% that's owned by insiders. People that are either on management or on the board own a huge stake of this company. We are absolutely tied to the success of this company from a financial perspective. And we win when our shareholders win. And so we're keeping our eyes on the long-term potential that this technology has, and looking for a really big win for our shareholders, because that's a really big win for us too.
Yeah, and I think it's important, you guys. We talk about this a lot on the channel, but CEOs come on here and we hear a lot of great company ideas. Everybody thinks they've got a phenomenal platform, but at the end of the day, cash is king, and you can follow the money, right? So to see that kind of evidence backing up your statements and your technology and your platform, I think does give a real vote of confidence to a lot of people watching. So we appreciate the context there, Lori. In terms of my list of questions, that's pretty much it. I think this was very comprehensive. I'll kick it back to you for closing thoughts. If there's anything we missed, feel free to jump in, but we appreciate your time and a great interview today.
Yeah, I want to just mention our management team and their expertise, because between the CMO and the Chief Technology Officer and our CFO and myself, and even our chairman of the board, who's pretty active in day-to-day activities, we have over 50 years of combined experience in med tech development. And so we have a really deep bench that has been there and done that, launched successful technologies, had several successful acquisitions. And so, that's important to making this company productive. And then I think, we have a truly exciting road ahead of us. We're entering the clinical phase of our company's life cycle. We're getting ready to kick off our very first in-man clinical study for pancreatic cancer pain this quarter. And there'll be a lot of exciting developments that come out of that study that we'll be communicating with investors. But if this has resonated with you and you're interested in staying engaged in what we're doing at Autonomix, I would just invite you to follow our progress at our website at autonomix.com. You can even sign up right on our website for updates. It'll come to you via email, and you can see all our press releases and get updates on what we're doing. And if you're even savvier than that, you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn or even Instagram and stay engaged with what we're doing. We'd love for you to do that. So thank you, Bryce.
Sounds good. It's not Twitter anymore, Lori. It's X. I do that all the time. Hey, you know what? We'll leave the website linked below so everybody can check it out. Great IPO, great context in terms of what this company is all about, and really nice to meet you, Lori. We welcome you back to continue following this story throughout the year. Guys, if you're still watching, you found this valuable, hit the like button. It helps get it to other people who may find interest. If you're not part of the community, McNallie Money, feel free to join. Just about 41,000 subscribers, so a sizable community, and we'd welcome any more participants. And if you have any other questions for Lori and the team that we didn't get to in today's video, drop them in the comment section, and then when we have Lori back, we'll make sure we address those. Guys, thanks so much. We'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Bryce.